All right, here we are back with another episode. It's actually the seventh episode of Mechanics of
Yeah.
Myth. Thank you guys so much for being here. Um, if you don't know who I am, I'm Joe, and this is Jordan, and he is an author, and he's actually on
Yeah.
a book tour now.
Yes,
And
I am. I'm
and
gonna be in Oskaloosa this Saturday. Oskaloosa,
I,
whatever it is,
I was
somewhere in Iowa.
I was about to say, listen, Oskaloosa, Aluska, Alakahooza, I don't know what it's called. As long as you know how to say it and you know where it's
Yep.
set, he'll be there. Um,
Bippity boppity boo.
yeah, right, right. And today we're doing part two of the last episode, which was back before, was it back before Thanksgiving, the week before Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's something like that. So,
Yep.
you know, we were just trying to take time off for the holidays. A lot of things were going on, so we missed that, we missed recording that Thursday. So, but we were all trying to spend time with families and have they get together, which means that we'll probably be missing another week, the week of Christmas. So we won't have anything for that week as well. But so this is part two of episode six, where we actually discuss the uh Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse, Beyond the Spider-Verse theories, and see what's
Hmm.
going on. And taking in all the information that actually you had said in
Yeah.
the last episode, I'm like, man, because I'm gonna be honest, I forgot most of the stuff. I had to watch them both, and I was like,
Yeah.
I don't remember a lot of it. So I watched them and I was taking notes.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna start with Into the Spider-Verse, just kind of recapping events for I almost look like a news reporter right now. I got my notes, you know, doing that little paper shuffle thing, So um, all right. So first, Into the Spider-Verse. It wasn't until Across the Spider-Verse that I don't think that we got the name exactly of what Earths that they came from.
Yeah.
Maybe one or two of them we did, but not all of them. So Into the
Hmm.
Spider-Verse, I call it Earth One. I'm gonna call it Earth One for simplicity's sake. That's not what it is, but it's Earth One, just recapping events. So Miles is from Earth One, where he has his uncle. His uncle is this is all spoiler alerts, by the way. So if you haven't seen it, it is what it is.
Stop the episode. Go watch it.
Right.
Then start the episode again.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right, right.
Yeah.
So he's in Earth One. His uncle Aaron in Earth One is the Prowler.
Hmm.
And eventually the Spider-Man from that universe, who's played by Chris Pine, is fighting the Green Goblin, who is Norman Osborn, and he is trying to open the portal to another dimension. Now, while he's fighting the Green Goblin, the Prowler steps in to fight him, to fight that Peter Parker, Chris Pine Peter Parker. And then it is revealed that Kingpin is involved and in charge of the whole project.
Yeah.
Okay. So there is an explosion. There is an explosion because you know because somehow Miles gets involved, right? Because the spider 42 comes from Earth 42, bites him and he don't think nothing of it. He gets involved in that fight between the Chris Pine Spider-Man, the Prowler, the Green Goblin, and the Kingpin. And there's an explosion where he sees flashes of other Spider-Man,
Yep.
across the different, well, across the Spider-Verse, right? And then Peter thinks that the collider will destroy the space-time continuum. The Kingpin is the whole point of him doing this is for him to bring back his family, right? The people that he lost, the family that died in the automobile accident. It was a whole thing. Um, Mary Jane, was, I think she was either going to be married to him or just newly married to him, somehow in a relationship. I
I think
didn't get
newly married.
right,
I think newly married. Yeah, because
right.
she said my husband Peter during
Okay,
his eulogy. Yeah.
okay, yeah. So he died. The Chris Pine Spider-Man died before that whole potential breakup situation. So then, somehow that whole explosion seems to happen across the Spider-Verse in different sections, is what it seems like. Because
Yeah.
what ends up happening is because whatever is happening in their respective Earths, their respective dimensions, right, is that else is also going off at the same time, and it's not necessarily the same thing. Peter B. Parker, played by Jake Johnson, so the sweatpants Spider-Man, got sucked to Earth 1 from Earth 2. I'm officially calling his Earth 2. And he's the one that, obviously he's the one that got divorced and he's glitching, and they infiltrate Alchemax in order to get information on the collider. And then we learn that Gwen Stacy, the girl that Miles met at the beginning, I just assumed that she was from that universe. I forgot she wasn't from that universe. She's not from that universe. There isn't, as far as we know, there isn't a Gwen that was on screen that's from Earth One, right? So she's
It
from Earth.
was, I think Miles would have found her.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so she's from Earth 3. Um, and and it's really weird. So there's that whole scene where somehow I guess Aunt May already knows who the Chris Pine Spider-Man was, the fact that he was Spider-Man, and and was helping him with stuff, Spider-Man type
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Got a whole underground lab and in the shed and the gadgets and junk like that, sewing costumes and stuff like that. Like, hey, this is the most active we ever seen an Aunt May in like any of the Spider-Mans ever.
Yep. Yep.
So like actually helping out. Um,
Essentially his Alfred.
huh?
Essentially his Alfred.
Right, right, right. Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Pretty much as Alfred. So then, Aunt May, and Miles Morales, Peter B. Sweatpants Spider-Man, and I want to say when go to the underground base to where they find the other Spider people from Spider figures, let's say Spider figures from Earth 4, 5, and 6, because that's what I'm naming them. Spider Ham, Spider Noir, and Spider Mech from Earth 4, 5, and 6, respectively. All of them came to Earth 1 once there was the collider explosion. The only reason why it happened in the first place was Kingpin was trying to bring back his family, but it ended up almost merging the dimensions together, almost tearing them apart. Jake, and then the whole thing happens in that movie where they end up fixing the whole thing. Jake Johnson ends up going back to his respective universe, Earth 2, and reconnects with his Mary Jane. And I guess,
Supposedly.
well, definitely. Well, definitely
Oh yeah,
because
definitely.
because they ended up having a kid and, uh
Well, not if you go with my theory. But anyway, continue.
well, we see him go into the portal. We know
Yeah.
that we see him go into the portal. We know that's his Earth because
Mhm.
in in across the Spider-Verse, it tells you how long it's been. Obviously he's got the little wristband thing now. So
Mhm.
across the Spider-Verse, it's been a year and 4 months later. Here's the key takeaways from that. Miguel blames Spider-Gwen for the events of the I guess the Michelangelo vulture on the Kingpin Collider. Turns
Mhm.
out we in this movie we did get the name of the original Earth. So instead of it being called Earth 1, it's Earth 1610. That's Miles Morales' original
Mhm.
Earth. And possibly Tom Holland's Spider-Man from No Way Home. So she's possibly oh, wait a minute. Or it's possibly Miguel blames either Gwen or possibly Tom Holland Spider-Man from the events of No Way Home for the reason why
Mhm.
certain things are happening.
Mhm.
Spider-Gwen says that the whole thing um is Miguel's idea.
Mhm.
So she states that Miguel explains what canon events are. So Miguel was dimension hopping before the whole spot thing ever happened. But
Mhm.
he also reveals that the tragedies were necessary in terms of those little nodes, the canon events were necessary
Mhm.
to basically make Spider-Man who he is, and disrupting a canon event will lead to a breakdown in uh in that dimension.
Mhm.
Miguel called Spider-Man the original anomaly.
Mhm.
That was the other thing, which is not completely true, but not completely false either.
Yeah.
It's true in the sense to where that's the Spider 42
Mhm.
was somehow got across. I don't know how it got across. Looking back on it, thinking back on it, Spot says something. He's like, "Listen, you
Mhm.
created me, right?
Mhm.
You created me." He's like, "Well, when did I do that?" That was towards the beginning of Across the Spider-Verse.
Mhm.
And it was like, "Okay, well, you threw a bagel in my face, right?" So this was a
Mhm.
reference back into the Spider-Verse when they was trying to infiltrate Alchemax, and when they was trying to
Mhm.
escape once they got caught. He threw that bagel and knocked
Mhm.
out one random dude in the background in the head, right?
Right.
So either, well, we'll get there. So that means that that dude is Spot, which means
Mhm.
that he is also from Earth 1610, which we had Earth 1, 1610 is from Miles, Earth dimension.
Mhm.
So then that means that whatever he had created whenever the thing had exploded, which is weird, whenever the thing had exploded or whatever,
Mhm.
somehow I'm guessing somehow there was some time issue involved, time traveling involved. That's the thing that I'm confused about
Yeah.
because, I mean, think about it like this. When you look at the different Peter Parkers, when you
Mhm.
look at the different Peter Parkers, they're aged differently. Time works differently. It's in a
Mhm.
different scale. Obviously,
Mhm.
um, he Sweatpants Spider-Man and OG Spider-Man is like two different ages.
Mhm.
Like Sweatpants Spider-Man is 15 years in the future. So even though these things are current like happen concurrently at the same time, they're
Mhm.
also at different they're also at different stages where like Spider-Man might be younger, Spider-Man might be older, and all this other stuff. So but Miles is also the one, and this is kind of why he's also the original anomaly, is because he, with air quotes, he's the one that has the greater influence
Mhm.
and is primarily the other thing that, how do I want to say, he is the other thing that primarily exists outside of the original Spider-Ham, Spider-Noir, all that other people into the Spider-Verse.
Mhm.
Um, you can this is another reason why I said, there's when something happened with the collider and stuff like that. This is also why I said there's some time travel involved, because when you listen to Gwen Stacy's account of how she got stuck in Earth 1 or Earth 1610,
Mhm.
she said she arrived a week before they, a week before they met, right?
Mhm.
So something with dimension travel, I don't think they've um dialed it in yet as far as how to hop
Mhm.
dimensions and not hop in different places in time.
Mhm.
I think those times for those individual universes are just set, but they're all running concurrently with each other. They're just at different stages compared to each other.
Mhm.
So, but there is some type of time thing involved. Um, so yeah, so as far as theories go, so now that I've laid out all the things and all the questions, this is what my theory is for Beyond the Spider-Verse.
Okay.
I do think Spot is a problem.
Mhm.
Um, do I think he's the main villain? I have no idea.
Okay.
Um, I think I think Prowler Miles is going to become the main villain of Beyond the Spider-Verse. Um, I think I think the first half of the movie, I think Miguel is not a bad guy. He just operate is going to operate antagonistically for the first little bit of the movie, first half of the movie, to work to take out Spot. I
Mhm.
think there is some type of, let's say, Spider Society Civil War that's going to be involved, because obviously you had um Spider Rocker, what's his name?
Oh, yeah, yeah. I know you're talking about.
Spider Punk, that's what it is.
Yeah, Spider-Punk.
You have Spider Punk, Spider Noir, Spider Ham, Spider Mac, and Sweatpants Spider Man, and Gwen Stacy, Spider
Mhm.
Gwen. You have them all going into back into the portal at the end of Across the Spider-Verse, saying, "Hey, we got to help Miles," basically,
Mhm.
because she basically went against Spider Society, and everybody, like, they was all down with it. Of course, Spider-Punk was the person that helped Miles break out to begin with,
Mhm.
um, so it's gonna be the few of them versus Spider Society. It's gonna be very weird on where Jessica Drew is going to land. I think she kind of like is torn between loyalties. Like, hey, it's not so simple and dry. I think her thing is going to be questioned, maybe a little
Mhm.
bit. But I think ultimately, it's going to be. I think ultimately it's going to be the Spider Society is going to get their butts handed to them for a little bit because they're going after Spot. Spider-Gwen and team is going to help Miles try to find him. They're going to take on Prowler Miles. Spot's going to become a bigger problem, and they're going to have to help. They're going to have to help Spider Society. Miguel's going to have to admit that he was wrong about X, Y, and Z. He's
Mhm.
not going to like it, but he's going to take the help. They're going to put down Spot, and then they're gonna go after Prowler Miles, and
Yeah.
I think that's where my I think that's what my theory is gonna be for the movie.
Mhm. I think it's all fair. I do think Spot will be the main big bad
Okay,
overall. Just because if we're going based on comics, Spot is the main big bad when it comes to Miles Morales.
okay.
Um,
Yeah, I will edit that. I will say like,
yeah.
yeah. Because the more I thought about it, I was like, well, if they have to go help Miles, why wouldn't they confront Prowler Miles first to
Mhm.
rescue Miles and then help Spider Society defeat Spot once they get their butts handed to them. So yeah,
Mhm.
I will edit that part.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Prowler Miles is going to try to play himself off as uh, original Miles to the Spider people. I wonder if he's going to try to do that. You know, like take out his dreads, make the throat come out, maybe steal his costume or something.
Okay.
But how is he going to do that? Don't know. I mean, he does have the tech of Prowler tech, which you said last time. Prowler tech is pretty substantial.
Right.
Um, but part of me is wondering, like, how that's going to play into it. Or maybe Miguel tries to capture Miles and he winds up capturing the wrong Miles. And he winds up capturing Prowler Tech Miles, who's like, you know, trying to break out and everything, but can't.
How do you see that? Like, okay, but their priority isn't Miles at this point.
Miguel's is, yeah, because
No,
they're trying to capture Miles.
yeah, they tried, but then what ended up happening is later on they were like after they all chased them throughout the Spider Society, they said well actually before that they was like we got to focus on Spot. So the directive was for the directive was for them to like we got to find Spot. When Gwen left after they had chased Miles, um and it was he ended up escaping to another Earth. He then reinstituted like the kind of like the order of we got to take care of Spot.
Right, but then he took a task force by himself to go try to find Miles.
I don't think I don't think he was in that task force. I think he took I
He was.
no
Pretty
no no
sure he
no.
was.
Well, so what ended up happening was I know he sent Jessica Drew to basically to end up in Earth 42, right? They was trying to they was trying
They didn't wind
to.
up in Earth 42. They wound up in Miles Morales' original world.
Yeah, well, that's only because that's only because Jessica Drew was following Gwen.
But
Miles ended up in Earth 42.
yeah, I know that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Miles ended up in Earth 42. Hold on a second. I'm gonna
Yeah.
post photos. Yeah, he enters Earth 1610 after they send uh after they send Gwen away. They wind up going to Earth 1610 and trying to find Miles because he got away.
Yeah, I don't think Miguel was in that though. When I
He is.
said,
I literally just watched a video clip of it.
let me see.
Yeah.
On YouTube?
Mm-hmm. I'll share it with you. It's quick 16-second, but it's literally like them teleporting into Earth 1610 after they drop Gwen off back at her place. Like pretty much immediately after. Because he tells Peter B. Parker to go home. He brings the muscle bound Spider-Man with him. He brings Jessica Parker, or whatever her name is, and uh, somebody else with him. Right after they send Gwen back.
Okay. Now, were they trying to chase Gwen or were they trying to chase uh or were they trying to chase Miles?
They're
Because
trying to chase Miles. They knew exactly. They sent Gwen back to her home. They didn't know that Gwen had the tech to travel again after they took her wristwatch and sent her back to her dimension. The only reason why she had a wristwatch to travel different dimensions was because of Hoagie, Spider-Punk, creating the watch for her and leaving it in her universe for her dad to recover, so that she then could go into Earth, Miles' Earth, and when she's there, she winds up taking out the muscle-bound spider guy, ties him up, and then she goes to find Miles at his home,
right.
and Miles isn't there. So then she talks to his parents, and then she leaves.
And this is why I say that they was chasing Gwen, right?
They didn't know
Because
she was there.
wait a minute, right?
Okay.
Because you got to remember what you call it left first.
Yeah.
Miles left first,
Miles left first.
and in the system is showing Earth 42, and they're
Right.
and
But
they're and
that was wiped and covered by the Cybertech girl because she wound up going with Gwen to try to find Miles later.
you talk about the other Jessica,
The one that was sitting at the computer.
right?
Yeah.
The where she was hesitating pressing the like yes button to abort.
Hmm.
Right, right, right.
Hmm. Hmm.
The one
So
that was
she
wearing
covered
the
his
VR
tracks.
headset.
hmm I think she covered his tracks because she wound up going with Gwen. When Gwen steps through the portal at Peter B. Parker's place,
Mm.
she's with them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I know she's with them.
So I think she might have covered Miles's tracks, and that's how Gwen knows that he's in Earth 42 because she goes back and she goes, I can't find Miles." She goes, "I know where he is. I'll go with you."
Yeah,
And they
yeah.
go to Earth 42 to go get Miles. I just shattered your whole theory on that aspect. I'm sorry.
No, no, no.
So a lot of people there's a lot of
So
people on Reddit. There's been a Reddit trend of like why didn't Miguel go to Earth 42 and all this other stuff. The only thing that makes sense to me is that um that girl covered up Miles' tracks. That's the only thing that would make sense.
I would say that even with that, I think they were still chasing after Gwen, right? And the reason why I say that, and when I say
That
chasing
doesn't make
after,
any sense though.
well, well, I'm a cut. Wait a minute. I just mean in the sense to where it's like because they think that she will be led to, they will lead them to Miles Morales, but they're really chasing after her in the sense to where like they're trying to trail her. That's why in that one scene when she goes to Miles's apartment first, you see Jessica
Mhm.
Drew pulling in that little like watching from a little bit of ways towards the end of the movie,
Mhm.
and she's watching her like coming from either going into or coming from that apartment. So they're trailing her. And they only have, if it's true what you said, the other Jessica, right?
Mhm.
If it's true that they wipe the what you call it, then the only data that they have to as a jump off point is the one to where they're using the one that, you know, Gwen used.
They know what world Miles is from though,
Huh?
originally. Like they know what world Miles is from though originally, and the whole reason why Miguel is trying to hunt after Miles when Miles gets away is because Miles is going to disrupt Canada then if his dad dies. So that's why Miguel is trying to find Miles to keep him from getting his dad to
No, no, no. I get that's why they chased them in the
die. Okay.
first place. But my whole thing is that even still, they
Mhm.
were only using the data based off of what Gwen put in.
Mhm.
That because here's the thing. If like you said, if it's true that the other lady had erased the data, they would have never went to the wrong one in the first place. And they could only end up using the one to where they last went because they know that she's gonna go help Miles. So they actually trying to chase after her, thinking that she's gonna lead them to Miles. That's why I said they're going after her. They're trying to
I
trail her.
I get what you're saying, but I
Yeah.
don't know if that fully makes sense simply because they took the wristwatch from her, sent her back to her own dimension. As far as they know, she has no way to jump dimensions after. So she goes back home. They go to Miles's world before Gwen gets there. Gwen gets there and then she takes out the muscle bound dude in the
Right.
alleyway,
Right.
and they don't know she's there.
It, I think she went to what's his name's Earth 2, the other Peter Parker.
After
Yeah. After sending her home, right?
that was after her going to Miles's place and talking to his family.
No, no, but I'm saying after they sent her home, right?
So after they sent her home,
Right,
she went to Miles's world, talked to
right.
Miles's family, then went from there to Peter B. Parker's world.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't think they were chasing her. I think that I think he said they discovered she was there, and he said she'll lead us to him after they discovered that she was there. But I don't think that they originally were chasing her. Um, Hold on, you keep talking. I'm gonna look into this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I think they are trying to um I think they are trying to stop like the I do think they're trying to stop like certain events from happening. I also think, wait a minute. Now that I think about it, wait a minute. They might have been chasing Spot too,
Yeah,
because
they're chasing Spot too, because Spot's in
in
Peter's
my
world, in Miles's
Miles
world.
World.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I still think that for some reason I'm thinking that he might be a priority. I just don't think he might be top priority. I think
Right.
because I think that at this point in time, Spot takes precedence over Miles breaking the
I
canon
don't
event.
I don't think so because Spot kills Miles's dad.
No, he hasn't yet
Yes, he
though.
does. No, he hasn't yet, but that's what the canon event is going to be,
Right.
is Miles's dad tries to save a girl and gets killed because of Spot.
Right. Yeah, no, no, no. No, I know that because Miles
So
basically
they're not
seen
gonna
the future.
right. So they're not gonna and he tells them about it, but they're not going to they're not gonna stop Spot until after that happens. So their main focus is stopping Miles.
But he already got too big though. He's already still swallowing up other dimensions.
Right, but they don't know that yet.
No, no, no. They had a whole map and everything.
Eh,
Remember when they was like, "Oh, he's over here. Now he's over here. Now he's
yeah, yeah.
over here." And they're just like we're starting to see this whole like thing to where it's like, "Oh, the dimensions are being swallowed up."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, I think and that's the other thing. I think that regardless of I think two things are happening at once. I think Earth 1610, Dimension 1610 is in trouble in two different fronts. One from Spot just basically destroying the multiverse, basically,
Mhm.
and two from Miles attempting to break the canon event, which will only destroy that singular like Earth dimension. So then why like strategically, why would they worry about Miles when why would they worry about Miles as a top
Mhm.
priority just being one dimension destroyed versus Spot being inside that one dimension and destroying everything and going on a destroying frenzy from that particular dimension.
Mhm. Hold on. Uh, Confrontations first Sunny. Gwen traveled to Miles' universe where she understood her friend never returned home. Ultimately, she recruited Peter B. Parker, Spider Noir, Penny Parker, Spider Ham, uh, Pavitr Prabhakar, Pavitr,
Yeah, yeah.
Pavi, Hobie, and Spider-Bite to search for Miles. Um, so yeah, that's what happened there.
Yeah.
Miguel. Anyway, um, yeah, I don't know. I think that they're trying to keep Miles's world from collapsing by Miles stopping Spot from killing his dad. I think that they're still going to allow that to happen. So they got to stop Miles first, and then they got to stop Brad. So that's my thought.
Mm,
Um, I don't see an alternative when it comes to that, because Miguel specifically says we need to go, we need to go stop this guy. Like we need to go stop Miles.
right.
So that's why they went to the world in the first place, with his elite group of taking people down. I, if I remember right, the only reason why, um, the motorcycle chick, Jessica Parker, is that what she is? Jessica, whatever. Um,
Something like that.
yeah, the only reason why she knows that Gwen is there is because Gwen reaches out to her and says, "Hey, I'm here. Let me talk to him. Let me talk to Miles. I can sort this out. Let me talk to Miles."
Hmm.
And I think if I remember right, Miguel winds up going to the school,
Where?
and
Oh yeah, Jessica Drew. Yeah,
yeah,
that's what I said.
yeah, Jessica Drew.
Yep.
If I remember it, I think Miguel goes to look for Miles at his school while Gwen goes to look for Miles at his home.
Okay.
So I think that's where the mix-up is. Um, but yeah, I'm not sure. I do think that Miguel does. He winds up putting the muscle-bound guy on surveillance outside of Miles' house to see if Miles comes out.
Hmm.
Um, and then I'm gonna have to watch that scene again. Um, but that's why he gets taken down by Gwen. And uh, yeah, so I do think that their main focus is going to be taking down Spot, but also they are trying to stop Miles from stopping Spot because Spot has to kill Miles' dad so it doesn't collapse. Um, and that's the whole reason why they're trying to stop Miles in the first place.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But also they have to stop Spot as well. So it's kind of one of those where there's a little bit of a influx of things happening.
Yeah.
Um, but
You know what?
okay,
You
so we
right.
got, yeah,
Cause cause it say this I'm reading it off of the thing. It say where I just lost my place. Where was it? It say Gwen uses I'm just using Wikipedia, I don't know.
yeah, yeah.
Gwen uses it to travel to Earth 1610, begins searching for Miles, as do the other members of the society. Miles tries to reveal his secret identity to his mother Rio. Much to her confusion, Miles and Gwen realize that the former is in Earth 42 and not his own Earth. In Earth 42, Miles' late uncle Aaron Davis is alive while Jeff is dead, and New York is crime-ridden due to the lack of Spider-Man. Aaron restrains Miles and is joined by Miles' Earth 42 counterpart, the Prowler. As Spot begins to attack his Earth 1610's New York, Miles prepares to escape his restraints. Gwen, after promising to Rio and Jeff that she will find Miles, teams up with Peter B, Mayday, um, um, Indian Spider-Man, Hobie, Margot, Spider-Man Noir, Penny Parker, and Spider-Ham. And that's where the whole thing leaves off as far as like the
Yeah.
synopsis. So,
So, yeah, I think it's going to be a little hard for them to get Miles out of Earth 42 because I think that the Prowler Miles is going to be teamed up with a bunch of bad guys. And so Miles is going to need help to get away because he's going to be facing more than just himself, basically. Um,
their own Sinister Six.
yeah, yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Um, so. That would be my guess when it comes to that. But I do think that Spot is going to be the main big bad, and it's going to be like Miles and Gwen basically teaming up together to try to convince the rest of
Spider
the
Society.
Spider Society that Spot is the main anomaly and they need to take him out because he is the major anomaly that's taking place.
Right.
Because if you think about it, if Spot is outside of time, because it's the little road trip, which we've got like 5 minutes to break this down, so I'm going to break this down as quick as possible.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
If he is outside of time, in the sense of his being able to jump to different realms and there's different time frames in those different realms,
Right.
well, he's already killed. He's already supposed to be killing one uh, captain of the police, essentially, which is in Bobby's.
Right.
The only thing that stops that is Miles being
Right.
there, and the world collapses. So, if Spot did not go to that world, then that wouldn't have happened. So, is Spot a canon event for every Spider-Man? And if that's the case, would he then be the anomaly and not really Spider-Man, not really Miles Morales? Is he the reason why every single Spider-Man has lost the captain in some way, shape, or form? That's the question that I would start asking, is if Spot caused all these things to take place.
Uh,
We don't have time to answer that question, but it is something to kind of chew on.
I think real quick, I don't think the position of captain matters. I think it's just somebody that's really important to Spider-Man.
No, no, no. They said in every Spider-Verse, the captain dies.
I understand what you're saying, but
Yeah,
um, I mean, you gotta look at it from this perspective. Remember when they was showing all them things about like the suffering
yeah,
of Spider-Man? It's like, oh, okay,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
sometimes it's the uncle, sometimes it's, you know, sometimes it's this person, sometimes it is the captain, sometimes, but they showed all of
Yeah.
that. They showed the captain, but they also showed like the relatives too. So I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. But
Well, they also talked about how Peter V. Parker said that his Uncle Ben died,
yeah,
but then it showed the captain of the police dying too.
who was the captain of the police in his thing?
That would be his Gwen Stacy's father.
I think that's the same what you call it that they showed the Andrew Garfield
But that's what I'm saying, is they say that there's plagued of
along with the
losses
Ben, right?
along with the Ben. Yeah,
Right, right,
or Aunt May or whatever. Um, or in Gwen's case, Peter Parker, which is interesting.
right.
Um, but yeah, so all those things I would say, um, to wrap it up this way,
Yeah.
we don't know,
We
but
don't
this
know.
was fun.
Right.
But this was fun.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so I'm excited to see what happens in March of 2025. We will see what they come up with.
Is it really going to be in March 2025?
They said March 29th of 2025. Now, I don't know if that's going to stay that way or not, but either way,
Well,
let's do our outro. Let's get this going.
all right, guys, you already know what time it is. It is that time to close the episode. So thank you guys so much for watching. And you can follow Jordan at Redeeming Dry Bones on Instagram
Yes,
and
sir.
on YouTube, me at
And
Kingdom
TikTok.
and TikTok, and me at Kingdom Building Culture on YouTube and Instagram, and also have a website at kingdombuildingculture.com.
Yep.
I would plug all of our stuff, but it's just going to be down in the description if you want to. I mean, listen, Pay the Wolf Jackson story, Get Nog book out. All them things are out. Uh, Going on a book tour. You already heard
Yes,
it at the
sir.
beginning of this episode,
Yes, sir.
and
Yep.
we'll be looking forward to what the Mechanics of Myth has next. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you guys later. Stay blessed, stay encouraged in Jesus' name.
Bye, guys. God bless.